This is the Action Movie Guys podcast, bringing you action movie reviews from across the decades, plus box office numbers and insight like never before. And now, your hosts of the Action Movie Guys podcast, Alex and Nate.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode number 354 of the Action Movie Guys podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and this is my co-host,
Alex Figueroa.
And on this episode, we're wrapping up Mel Gibson month. Now, Alex, I think it's been pretty fun. I think we've seen some good, solid movies. I didn't hate any of these Mel Gibson ones so far. And we're going to be wrapping it up with a 1997 action thriller. This is a weird movie. This movie is weird. I'll just tell you right now. Called Conspiracy Theory, directed by our boy, Richard Donner. Fun fact, written by Brian Helgeland, who wrote and directed the last Mel Gibson movie, Payback. So it's another Brian and Mel team up. We call it a Brian and Mel sandwich. But this one also has Julia Roberts, get a little Patrick Stewart in here. So we're going to be giving you our thoughts on it. But before we do, I got to ask you, have you heard of this movie? I'm sure you have, but have you ever seen this movie before this review?
So I owned this movie on DVD, but never saw it. And it's funny because I used to work at Blockbuster. So when Blockbuster closed down, I brought a lot of DVDs on sale because of my discount. And I remember this one because it had a cool cover. It was like a black and white of them with the red like stamp on it. So I was like, oh man, but I never got a chance to watch it. So I heard of it, but I never got a chance to see it. And I never even knew it was Richard Donner who directed it. So that was interesting.
Same. I literally found that out when I added it to the list here. So I remember this movie when I was a kid. Like I remember it coming out when I was a kid. I want to say my parents went to see it or something. Like I didn't see it, but I remember Conspiracy Theory. Like I remember the commercials because Julia Roberts and Mel Gibson. I mean, we're talking about like two A-list big stars at the time, which is kind of cool to go back and watch these older movies. And these were like the top of the top as far as stars go. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I never saw it. So this was a first time watch for me as well. So yeah, let's get into it. The Rotten Tomato scores. These are kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie. I was a little surprised when I saw these. Critic score for this movie is a 57%. And the audience scores are only a 64%. So
that's not bad.
No, not horrible. It is fresh with audiences. It's rotten for critics, but I don't know. I thought, with the talent involved, like Donner, Gibson, Roberts, especially Julia Roberts. I feel like she's a darling of like critics and stuff, but I'm a little surprised. What do you think? I
agree with you but I feel the way that this film is shot, I think it's what could hurt it. Like I bet if we watched the trailer, is the trailer showing more action than what the movie's about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be the trailer misled.
Misleading advertisements, maybe.
Yeah, and we get a lot of those.
Yeah.
Now we get a lot of that. More than the 90s. Because I think 90s are like, when it comes to trailers in the 90s, everything was like spot on. Like you knew what you were going to get yourself into. I felt like where we up now in our generation, that shit is misleading all over the time. Like you think you're going to see one type of movie and then you come out going, this is not even what I watched.
They need to bring back voiceover trailers with the guy that's
I missed
two
those.
People meeting up, and then it shows them meeting up and getting some pizza, and then they get some pizza. Like they didn't bring that back.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he'll make the movie more fun, and at least you'll know what the movie's about. So yeah. Okay,
well let's get to it because you know what? These scores don't even matter because the only scores that matter on this show is ours. So we're gonna go ahead and give you our 2 cents now. We're gonna start off with our lead character. He's Jerry Fletcher. He's Mel Gibson. If you want to add in Julia Roberts' character, Alice Sutton, he's the main, but she's a co-lead, the female lead. If you want to add in their stuff too as well, please take it away.
All right, so when it comes to Julia Roberts, it's crazy. I don't watch much movies with her in it. So like the only ones, that I've seen and I'll go, oh, okay, she's a great, is The Oceans.
Oh, yeah.
Like I never seen Pretty Woman, so I can't
Classic.
give you that one. Yeah, Mystic River, I know this is another one that she was in.
No, Mystic Pizza.
Oh, Mystic Pizza. Oh yeah, that one. I didn't see
Mystic River is a sad movie with
that's the wrong one. Yeah, I didn't see that one. But yeah, in terms of I thought she was good in this movie. I think this was like her strength. I thought she was very well. She's like a Justice Department lawyer or something like that, or she works there. And this crazy dude just keeps rolling in, calling for her, and she's like, oh no, but she's trying to solve the murder of her dad. So that's the whole thing. And then how does Mel Gibson fit in all this? It's kind of weird. We'll talk about it in storyline.
Yeah.
But Mel Gibson, so acting wise, Mel Gibson gives his top performance. Like, dope. The character for me, he's just not as interesting for me. Like, he's not the typical. I can see why they got him for this role.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it because it's just up his alley. But for me, I wasn't too crazy about it. Like, I liked him in the movie. I thought the character was great. I mean, he's a taxi driver that all he does is talks about conspiracies to people. I thought the beginning was mad funny. And then he's like talking to himself and he went, wait a minute. Wait, is somebody there?
There's no one in the backseat. I love that part. He's like, why is the meter running?
So, like, he has certain quirks that I like about like Mel Gibson brings charm. I mean, that's one thing we always talked about in all his movies. The charm of Mel Gibson is great, and his comedic timing is always on point. Always on point. And like I said, he could do the stupidest shit and you start laughing. And that was funny when he forgot his his lock for his coffee. Which I was like, why is he has his coffee locked up and so much stuff. But anyway, he's like very quirky, very into conspiracy theory. He has his own newsletter called Conspiracy Theory to 5 subscribers. And then which you find out later on what happens to them. But at the end of everything, I gave him a 4. I think he's a great character. I don't think he's perfect because I just wanted to see more because I felt like they try to do the Winter Soldier with him. Like, if you know what I mean, or like they drug him and then he becomes like an assassin or some shit like that. Like, it was just a weird story.
Like
this
movie's Born Identity.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Very Bourne. So like, but he's not like an action character. No. He's more of like an analyst type of dude. Like, if you look at it that way, he's like an analyst. But anyway, I give it a 4.
You know, this was a weird movie. This was a weird movie, and this was a weird role.
Yeah.
But I've got to be honest with you. I loved Mel Gibson in this movie. You hit it on the head. I think the performance is pitch perfect. He's somehow insane in this movie, and I loved him. I was like, I love this guy. And this is the kind of movie where normally I'd be watching it and the girl, like the female lead, is like falling in love with him. I'm like, what are you thinking? But not this time. I was like, I think I kind of get it. I mean, first of all, Mel Gibson, stud, right? Good looking, but he's crazy, but he's like endearing crazy. He's like, he likes her. He asks her about the horses. He has that weird painting of her. I love that part, bro. When they fall in the thing and he's like, oh, that came with the apartment. Like someone else painted you on this horse. It was already there. I love that scene though when they're escaping and he's like blowing up his apartment, like he lights all the things. It's like, shh. You could tell he has some skills, some training. He doesn't even know how he has that skill or training, but over time he starts to remember. Very Bourne. The one with Jeremy Renner. What was that one? The Bourne Legacy. Reminded me of that kind of as far as the character, but with a lot more charisma, personality. I like Julia Roberts in this. I'm surprised you never seen like Sleeping with the Enemy. That's like a thriller with her. That one's pretty good. I think you would like that because it's not she did a lot of rom-coms, which is probably why you haven't seen a lot of her movies. But Erin Brockovich is great. She's a great actress. So I'm not surprised that I liked her in this. She's really, really, really good. And especially the part like when she's crying at the end, when she's like trying to get help, like when he's dying and stuff. Her acting is really good. And I love the end with him where he's like dead. She thinks he's dead, but then he's like, he's not dead. They faked his death. He watching her ride on the horse and all that. And it seems like he's coming to like become a little more normal again now that the stuff has happened. We'll get to storyline. I don't know. I did not think I was going to do it, but I gave him a 5. I loved him. He's not an action hero. That's where I 1,000,000% agree with you. But in this movie, he's so funny. I don't know. I loved him. You're probably right. He's probably like, as far as a written character, he's probably like a 4. But I loved him so much, I'm just going to do it and give him a 5. I thought he was I could watch another movie with this guy as the lead.
Oh, yeah. Hands down. Yeah. The scene that was funny, and then we'll go to the next one, is when he's watching her eating the sandwich and he's seeing it. And he's like, what are you He's like, what are you singing to? And he's changing the radio. And then he finds it and he's singing with her.
When she's running on the treadmill?
Yeah. He's like, I love you, baby. And she's eating the sandwich.
Like, what do you mean when I'm running? Why are you been looking at me? How long you been? And then he leaves. And then he opens the door. He's like, use the deadbolts. that part is so hilarious. This movie's
You know
funny.
what, man? Now you
know,
made me change my mind. I'm gonna give him a 5. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 5
just for that part.
Yeah, because I forgot his timing was pretty funny. Yeah, I thought that was funny too. Or when he went in and he took the cop's gun.
Yeah,
I said, "Back up, man!"
Oh my gosh,
he got stabbed up. Oh! This is why. See now, it really changes it to a 5. He got drugged and he's in the wheelchair. He went,
or even when he's trying to escape the hospital, he's handcuffed to the thing and he jumps in the chute and he gets stuck. He can't even go all the way down. And as soon as she takes the handcuffs off, he just goes flying down the thing.
Yeah,
so many good parts.
That hallway scene was funny. He said, "Whoa!" And then he turned around. He screamed like a girl.
Yeah.
And then he went down the stairs. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yes.
I was like, "Yo, this dude he's
amazing in this movie." I don't know, Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Mel Gibson performances for a movie I just watched for the first time. I thought he was a blast. It looked like he was having fun. So, okay, main villain. Let's come back down to earth a little bit. We got Patrick Stewart. Literally, his name is Dr. Jonas. That's the name on the credits. What did you think?
I give him a 3. He wasn't, I don't know. I think he was good for the story. He's the one that poisoned him and he was trying to get him. And throughout the movie, you really don't know what the hell's going on as much. I mean, you do know that you're after him, but you don't really know why. Then Patrick Stewart, everything starts to unfold. Like he's like the guy who, for Brimstone or whatever it's called, Briarstone or whatever it was called from the Bournes. Now that you brought it up, it's very Bourne. Treadstone, yeah. It's very like that. He's the guy who recruited him or whatever and then told him to do stuff. So like, I don't know. I liked him. I thought but there's not much with him. Like he doesn't fight him or nothing. And I mean, he does shoot him at the end.
He that
was funny. He said, "I bit his nose." Yeah. I was like, there's a guy running around with no nose.
He thought he bit it all the way off. He
He was like, "You believe me, Alice? There's a guy with no nose."
I think that was like a fugitive thing, like the man with one arm. It's like the guy with no nose.
That was, yeah. So like, again, it's just funny because we keep going back to Mel Gibson theme scenes and then start laughing. But yeah, in terms of him, I gave him a 3. I thought he was good.
I agree with you. There's not much to say. I gave him a 3 as well. I would have gave him a 2, except I do like the part towards the middle where then he flips and he's almost like he's a good guy. He's like, "Look, here's what it is. There's this program. Guys got loose and we're trying to get him back." And then she starts like almost like working with him a little bit, but it turns out he's actually just bad. So I kind of like when they do that, where it's like, this guy's bad, he's evil, but then the story flips it where it's like, wait a second, our lead character is kind of crazy. So maybe he's not that bad. And then it turns out he is. So I kind of like that little switcheroo. That got me to a 3. Because other than that, he's barely in it. He's a doctor. He don't fight. He doesn't do nothing like that. So yeah, I agree with you. A 3. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. He's just okay. Patrick Stewart, great actor. Wasted. Because he doesn't even have a lot of scenes. So it's always cool when you get guys that are normally good guys. Or he's known for Captain Picard. A good guy. And then he plays a villain. Underutilized. All right, action scenes.
This movie doesn't have much action, which I wish it did have more because Richard Donner is known, he does Lethal Weapon. So, oh man, I'm going to give it a 4 because I thought the action here was actually, man, that apartment scene is very well done. And the corridor on how small it was and he had to shoot that damn thing, I loved it. I loved it going into the second apartment. I thought that was good. I like the chase when he's running around in the hospital all drugged out and it was in a mental ward.
Yeah.
Thought that was fun. Car chase. Was it a car chase? I think there was a car chase in this. Oh no, a foot chase because they had the helicopter and then he went into the movie theater.
Yeah.
And he's like, so it's not as much, but it was. Richard Donner knows how to shoot it, and I was invested. I thought it was pretty good. And the ending, I thought that was all when he was all drugged out on the floor and she went to save him. They had that scene with the cops. I thought it was good. Not as much, but I'm gonna give it a 4 for great because I thought it fit this conspiracy thing. Oh, and then when he zoned out while driving in the wrong lane in New York.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought that was funny.
When the guy's like, get me out the car. And he wants to
Yeah. He was like, "It's a free ride." And he just still put the money in the thing. So yeah, I gave it a 4.
All right, I'll be the jerk. I gave it not a jerk. I gave it a 3. I agree with everything you said. There's not a lot. I love the apartment escape scene. because they throw like they're shooting grenades from the other. I'm like, well, here we go. Now we got the guys on the helicopters and on the other rooftop, and they're shooting grenades into the apartment, and they're blowing it out. And he's setting it on fire and blowing it up. Like that whole scene is really good. But then other than that, like you mentioned, like there's a couple there's like some chase. The hospital chase is fun but comedic, and yeah, the taxi, the little part in the beginning, it's minimal. It's minimal action. You're absolutely right. I was surprised when I was watching it. I was like, why does IMDb and everywhere list this as action? And then there is some, but not a lot. But it's well shot. It is well shot. I agree. Like Richard Donner knows how to execute these scenes. I just wish there was more. If there was more, if this was like a full-on action comedy, even if it had as much as like Bird on a Wire, which we did the other week, like that had a good amount. Like it was kind of goofy and funny, but there was a lot of it. If this had that amount, I would have been 4 as well. But it's okay. It didn't hurt my enjoyment of the movie at all. All right, what is storyline? What did you think?
I gave it a 4. Very complex storyline. It's a very complex storyline, but I enjoyed the execution of how Richard Donner told it. So Mel Gibson, it was a hit, man. It was a hitman because he was drugged by Patrick Stewart's character.
He was in the military, and then he was converted into like an assassin using this experimental drug
serum.
Stuff.
Yeah. So he thinks he killed Julia Roberts' dad, but he didn't. He remembers that he was friends with him and then saw her and then fell in love with her. That's pretty much like the whole story. And then Patrick Stewart uses that and flips it and says, yeah, he killed your dad, and gives him the photo. And I was like, oh, that's some douchey shit. But that's only 90s writing, because they don't do that now in 2000.
No,
they need to bring that back, that trope, because it's actually a really douchey move, but I like it though. It worked very well for the storyline. Then Julia Roberts starts to fall in love with him, and then you can see. I mean, you kind of knew it. He had blue eyes. There's no way you can say no to blue eyes. Yeah, I kind of liked it, and I like the whole conspiracy thing, and it's very funny. Like I don't know. I think the movie did a great job, like with the tropes, like when he's in the hospital, right, and he breaks out, and they lock the gate. And he's like, open the door. And she's like, no.
Oh, the worker? Oh, my God. That part made me laugh. Because he does it twice, and it made me laugh both times.
The second time was even funnier because he ran out and locked it. And he's like, open the door. He's like, no.
She's like, watch your language.
Yeah. So, like, Richard Donner brings in, and I think that's why the Lethal Weapons were so successful, because it was very heavy action, but with the comedy is so light and fun. I don't know if he did other action movies besides, because I know him for Lethal Weapon, Superman, and then of course.
Oh, he didn't. Didn't he do Assassins?
Assassins with
Sylvester Stallone. That was Richard Donner.
That was him.
Yeah.
You didn't like that one.
I didn't like
you
that.
Hated that one, and that wasn't comedic though. That was more serious.
That was more sleepy. For sure. That was a sleepy movie. I didn't like that one. But he did it.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, like, I give it a 4. I think the storyline was very straightforward, and it's very complex, but it was really good.
Okay. Richard Donner did direct... matter of fact, the movie he made before this was Assassins. And the movie he made after this was Lethal Weapon 4. He directed
that was a good movie.
Timeline, 16 Blocks, which 16 Blocks was the last movie he made.
I don't think we've seen that one.
He passed away in 2021. Yeah, it was his last movie. And it was good. We'll add it to the list. Bruce Willis movie. He also did Maverick, which is a Western. Lethal Weapon 2, Scrooged. That's not an action movie. The Goonies, an adventure film. Lady Hawk. That sounds like it could be an
action movie.
It's got Richard Donner. I don't know who these people are. Michelle Pfeiffer. Adventure comedy drama. Lady Hawk. So I don't know. He's done a lot of good stuff. The Omen, of course, but
heavy Mel Gibson movies.
I did a lot. I did like 5 Mel Gibson movies or something like that. A good team because I liked him in this. Okay, storyline. I agree with what you said. What'd you give it? What'd you end up giving it?
A 4.
I have the same score. I also gave it a 4. It could have been a 5 because I think the elements were there for a 5 out of 5 story. That, especially for me that loves 90s movies, this could have really been a 5. The only problem is I was confused for a while as far as like, I didn't know where it was going. It takes so long to discover the Mel Gibson didn't kill the dad. Like that's all the way like in the 3rd act, pretty much when they're escaping and they're over in the, wherever they're at.
Barn.
Yeah, the barn. Yeah. So like it took so the whole time I'm like, I would say for the first like 40 minutes, I was like, why is this guy like this? What's going on? You just get little glimpses like, oh, he's in this. They come and get him. They don't tell you why they come and get him. He's crazy. I'm like, what does he know? What does he know? And then I also feel like it's a slightly misleading because the whole thing is about him being this like hitman guy that he didn't do the job, right? And someone else had to end up killing the dad, and then he's kind of like on the loose and he's gonna whatever. And then like the conspiracy element doesn't really factor in. Like okay, remember he mentions, oh, they're gonna kill the president with an earthquake. And then later on the news, there's like the president escaped and there was an earthquake. But it's just like a throwaway. I wish there was more into like him actually knowing the stuff. That would have made it a 5. But as it is, I still think it's a 4. I think the script's really good. I think it's funny. I think it has a good... for me, it's a good blend of a thriller mixed with not a rom-com, but almost like it's comedic. It has a little love story in it, a little action. So I thought it was a very good blend. Could have been perfect, but it's not quite. So 4 for me as well. What is your overall?
I normally don't do this. I normally do not do this for a film at all. If people listen to us scoring, I don't do this. I'm going to give this a 4.5.
Oh, a half. You haven't busted out a half score in like 200 episodes.
Yeah, I have never done the halves. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I think this is a very interesting story. If you're into these type of movies, I know a lot of people will not like this movie. They will say it's not good, but I liked it. Mel Gibson gives a hell of a performance, and Julia Roberts. Yeah. So I liked it a lot. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
I love a good half score. You know, sometimes it's not quite a 4, but it's not quite a 5, and you just got to go right. I mean, 9 out of 10. Yeah. To me, a 9 out of 10 is a valid score. I'm with you. I'm not busting out the half, but I gave it a 4. I like this movie. I want to buy it on Blu-ray. I think it has a Blu-ray. Yeah. I want to buy it. I rented this. Shout out to my job. Gave me some voodoo credits from Fandango. And so I was able to rent it for free, but I want to buy it now. So I'm probably going to order the Blu-ray because I doubt this will ever get a 4K. I don't think it was a really big hit. The critic score is not crazy high. So Blu-ray is probably the best it's going to get. So yeah.
Well, you never know because Dolph Lundgren's I Come in Peace or what they call Dark Angel getting a 4K.
Yeah, unless Scream Factory gets a hold of this or Shout Factory, but...
Or Kino. Could be a Kino.
This seems like a Kino 4K, if anything. I'm still going to get the Blu-ray because I'm sure I can get it for cheap. But if I might upgrade because I think this movie is a blast. I had a really fun time watching it. It's a little long. That's one of the only knocks too. Like it could have been 15, 20 minutes shorter as well. But I mean, a good 90s action thriller with 2 big A-list stars doing really good work. What more can you ask for? So a 4 for me, a 4.5 for you. What is your total points?
20.5.
20.5 out of 25. Yep. Okay, I have a 19 out of a 25. So we're close. 1 point difference. And that was just because of the action, really, and their half point. But yeah, if this had a better villain and better action, forget it. This thing would be in the 20s for me. I thought it was a really fun movie. That's why I was surprised with the Rotten Tomato scores was after, because I get those after I watched the movie. And I was like, really? I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun time.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird with that. I mean, I will lean more towards the audience score of 74%. Like, I'm like, okay with that score. But I saw that, so I purchased this digitally for $10 on Apple. They had it for sale. I was like, oh, okay, $10. And it was HD. And it looked great. Yeah. I was like, okay. And it sounded great. I mean, I would buy it on 4K. Like, I'm going to keep the digital. I don't need right now the Blu-ray. But if it comes out with a 4K, I'll buy it hands down. Just like I'm going to buy Dark Angel.
I've never seen it.
You never seen that one?
No. This is good.
We're going to do it on this podcast.
Okay.
If you could, pick it up. But I could see you liking that movie.
We got to do Dolph Lundgren month.
We got to do a Dolph Lundgren month.
I'll look into it. Yeah, that comes out in July. All right. Well, very good. This I rented it in HD. It did look good, so I will buy it. Yeah. The digital was only 10. I should have just bought it. It was $10. But
you should have just brought it for $10.
Listen,
my thing is,
I only had $8 in credit. Okay, I didn't want to $4 to rent.
So the way I do it is like if we're doing a movie and I have to, if I don't own it, if it's $10 or less, I'll buy it. If it's more than 10, like a $14 movie, I'm like, I'm renting it for $4.
I had $12. I had $12 in credit, and I had to rent another movie for a different list, and then I had $8 left. So I was like, I'll just rent it, I guess. And now I'm gonna go to my bookstore. They got this baby cheap on Blu-ray. Get it for $4.99. Okay, as far as what we got coming up, that wraps up Mel Gibson month. We're put a bow on him. I think Alex, probably one of our most consistent months. I thought I didn't dislike any of the movies we did for Mel Gibson month. So Mel Gibson, he gets the A+. Is he the biggest action star? No, although he does have Lethal Weapon and Mad Max, which are 2 big franchises.
That's true.
But outside of his franchises, is he the biggest action star? No. But is he a great actor and a movie star? Bloodfather. Don't forget about Bloodfather. That's my joint. Mel Gibson,
Darkness.
he gets the AMG stamp of approval. He's one of the best. All right, here's what we got coming up. It's a new month. You know what that means. New theme. So, of course, we will be tackling the Star Wars prequel trilogy. So next week, we will have a special guest, our buddy Rob. He's been on before. Rob is coming back, and he will be covering Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, with us. And then this is a month. I mean, I've moved this month, just so you know. I've moved this about 6 times. We should have done this like a year ago. Then I moved it to like later. Then I moved it. It's now settled. These are the movies we're doing. We're doing a little Hard to Kill, Above the Law, Out for Justice, and the most classic one, Under Siege. Steven Seagal month. Doing his little hand motions. Alex, I've only seen Under Siege. I've never even seen any of these other movies.
Oh, wow. I've seen the one that he's is it Out for Justice?
Maybe.
He hits the guy with a pool ball in a sock. I mean, he beats the shit out of the dude. He puts a sock he puts a thing into a sock and he whacks the dudes all over the place. He's like, I'm here to look for Bobby Chulo. Or Bobby Chulo or some shit like that.
Bobby Chulo.
You see what I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't think that's what he's saying, but my dad always said that he sounds like he's saying he's looking for Bobby Chulo when he's whacking them with the balls.
Well,
but anyway,
I can't confirm.
It's a good film.
I have a cousin who likes Steven Seagal movies, and that's the only thing I know about him. I don't know much. So this will either be rough.
He's not
month,
a good actor.
Yeah. Or it could be like a surprise, like Jean-Claude Van Damme month, where it's like, damn, with Jean-Claude Van Damme, it was just in banger after, in The Quest, but banger after banger, besides The Quest.
You might like, you know what? All the movies you picked are big movies of his.
That's what I tried to do.
Yeah. So you might, like I said, you might enjoy it, but from what I remember, he was stiff as an actor.
Well, I know I like Under Siege. Because Tommy Lee Jones is in it and he's like awesome as the villain. But the other 3, I have no idea. I just like that they all have 3 names. Like,
he did a movie. I don't know if you ever seen it. He did a movie with like Kurt Russell. It was like all the action stars. It was like executive.
Decision.
Yeah, I remember that. That's sold
on
that shit.
We do have that on a future episode. Yeah. He dies in it though. Spoiler alert. He died. He's not even in the whole movie. But
yeah, I know, for like 2 seconds.
It was like people were surprised, like, what? Steven Seagal? And then he dies. Like, what the heck?
He went out of the airlock.
He was also the bad guy in Machete. Remember with
I never seen those.
Oh, no. I'm gonna have to add those to the list too. He's the bad guy in the first one, and Mel Gibson's the bad guy in the second one.
Really? Yeah. Is Mel Gibson good?
He's crazy. He plays a crazy guy. It's kind of like Expendables 3. Like, he's very crazy.
But Expendables 3, he was like the only actor that got the memo to act.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody else,
and at least the Machete, like, they're intentionally like
bad
B movie. Yeah, so it fits. Maybe we'll do. I'm gonna have to add those to the list as well. But anyway, next week specifically will be Phantom Menace and Under Siege with our buddy Rob. He will be here for all 3 Star Wars movies, so you're gonna hear him for the next few weeks.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. Till next time, if you guys want to follow us in our social media accounts, please follow Nate over on Instagram at Netflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Netflix Movie Reviews. Nate goes live every other Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern on his Instagram account at Netflix Reviews. And of course, anything AMG Podcast, you guys can follow us on Instagram at Geeks and Flicks, or you guys can go to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/@actionmovieguys. Other than that, he is your host,
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
I'm his co-host, Alex Figueroa. Be awesome to each other and geek out.